I'm JumpSplat120, and this is episode 49 of Journey to Stardom, also known as that vlog that Matthew does occasionally when he has no gameplay footage to put up on his channel. All jokes aside, I know that about 500 of the 2,000-ish subscribers I have subscribed for my vlog content, and I often push it to the side. So today I'm making something for you guys. I know I don't make my vlogs on a regular occasion like I used to do, so my vlogs are always either big events in my life or me playing catch-up, which is what this vlog is. So, first and foremost, I have a new phone and obviously a new camera. It's pretty nice. It's not a Galaxy or a Note or anything super crazy, so moving on. My last video I made was about me looking for a job and possibly being able to get a job at Universal. I had gone to the audition and I felt really secure about it, but since they never called me back or emailed me, what the fuck is going on? Since they never called me back or emailed me, I guess it was all in my head. And the video before that was about the audition for Ready Player One, but as Dashing Native had said in the comments in that video, they were probably going to cast a big name in the end, which they totally did, so congrats on calling that one. Since then, I've been in a couple more student films, as well as being able to land a job at one of the nearby movie theaters. I actually wouldn't have known that they were hiring, except when my parents came to visit, we went and saw a movie, and when we went to go see the movie, I was able to see the "We're hiring" sign, which I never would have seen otherwise, considering I don't go to the movies. I mean, movies are like 15 bucks a ticket here. That's like 3 pizzas from Little Caesars. So I was working there for a couple months, and then kind of out of the blue, they fired me. And they were really vague on why they did it, which was in the at-will contract that I signed, saying they could fire me whenever they want. So I can't really be too upset about that, but it was still a bummer. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know if it was me or them, especially since it kind of came out of nowhere. And I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have any money saved up because the hours were really shit. I didn't really have anything. And it was right before my birthday, if I remember correctly. So I went and I visited family for my birthday, and then I came back. I started looking for a job for like a few days, and then I had to leave for my girlfriend's birthday because we both have a birthday in July. So for about 3 weeks, I floundered about jobless, and I wasn't even really getting the chance to look for a job. And then while I was getting one of the hot and ready $5 pizzas from Little Caesars, I saw that they were hiring. So I put in an application, and then I got the job like 2 days later, which was really cool. It's not like the job, it's not amazing or anything like that, but the hours are a lot better than Pacific Theater, and the manager's been really cool about letting me take home old pizzas, since they understand that, you know, I'm broke as the Loch Ness Monster. So that roughly brings you up to speed to about a week ago, which is when I got the job. Since then, I've been just kind of working or sleeping, because Little Caesars is kind of like Olympic pizza making, and I'm just not in the shape for that. Seriously though, they make pizza so quickly, and I was incredibly unprepared for when I first started working there. I'm still not really able to keep up, but at the very least I'm not dying of exhaustion every time I leave from work, so I've really been much too tired to make any videos or anything, mainly because of work. But as I'm getting used to the job, I do want to pick up videos again. And I also want to continue doing auditions and stuff. But the problem is I don't have any money right now. For those of you who haven't watched this series before, and you don't have that rough understanding of how the audition process works, that I might have provided you from the previous videos, I'll just break it down really simply. A group of people decide that they want to make a short film / feature-length film / commercial / whatever. They all get all of the, you know, behind the camera crew through whatever means that they do that, and then they post their project onto a website such as Backstage, Actors Access, or LA Casting are like sort of the 3 big ones. There are others, but the idea is some of the websites are better than others. They all kind of fill a niche. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, so what I do is, to audition, I would look through all of the projects that are submitted on the website. I find one that has a character description that sort of piques my interest, and then I submit a headshot and an acting resume through that website, which then gets sent to them, and they're going to take a look at it, and then they go, oh yeah, we want you, and then I would go and I would audition. But the problem is, my problem lies at the submitting stage, because to submit on one of those websites you need to pay a fee to the website. They're not like a terrible amount of money, but they do kind of cost a bit up front, and I haven't had the cash to pay for it. If I remember correctly, LA Casting something like $60 a year. And that's, you know, that's like $1 every 5 days, I think. 5 times 365. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Because, you know, there's like 365 days, $60 for an entire year. That's not even a dollar a day. It's incredibly cheap. Whereas if I were to submit per project, and I haven't done this, so I'm just guessing, it's something like I think like $1.50 per submission. So that's much more expensive to do that. And you can also pay per month, but again, that's a little bit more expensive than paying per year. And I just haven't had the cash to do any of those options. I definitely didn't want to submit per project because it's way too expensive. I didn't really have the cash to do it per month, and I didn't have the upfront cash to do it for the full year at any point. And my yearly subscription to all three kind of ran out like at the same time, and so I can't submit myself to anything. I still have been able to find a couple of projects, which is cool. For example, someone on the acting subreddit posted that they were looking for people, and I took part in their short film. But otherwise, I've just kind of been out of luck. My manager / agent is supposed to be submitting me to things, but I'm pretty sure they're only submitting me to like big productions or parts that don't really fit the niche that I fill, which is sort of like a nerdy kid or a younger, like I kind of look, you know, 16, 18, I can fill that gap. And I don't know what they're submitting me for, but it's definitely not those roles because I haven't even got an audition from anything that they have ever submitted me to. So, you know, there's no help there. And I'm not even sure what they're submitting me to because I don't talk to them. I email them, they don't really respond. They're just really not all that great, so I've been looking for a new agent. I've actually been taking classes too, which is really cool. And in the class that I was taking, the teacher was helping me formulate something to send to agents. But again, I don't have the cash to pay for the next month of classes. Not for this month of classes, which is August. I didn't have the cash for that. I took the classes in July, but I didn't have the money for the next month, which was August, which is what I'm doing right now. So I have to wait for classes in September. And hopefully by that time, because I'm working at Little Caesars and I'll have been paid, I'll have the spare cash to take classes again. But in the meantime, all I can do is, you know, just basically all I can do is work, which is what I'm doing. Hopefully when I have enough cash that I'm not literally scrounging for pennies to go buy ramen from the store, I can shift priorities around and focus on acting more. I've just been so worried because I've seen people who are working and they call themselves actors and then they talk about how they haven't been to any audition in months or like even years. And I don't ever want to get to that point. But the problem is then I don't focus on money and I end up with no money for food and I'm literally starving because I haven't eaten anything for 3 days straight. So I need to kind of find this balance of, instead of just like swinging from one extreme to the other, of like only auditioning and then only working, and I need to find like a good balance. And hopefully once I find that balance, you know, my girlfriend can come down here and live with me as well, which would be really nice. It would help with money things because right now she pays for things and I pay for things and we're separated, but you know, if we were in the same apartment, like costs would be shared. You know, that'd be really nice, but I think that's a bit down the line later. And the problem is it's really easy to think of big plans, but a big plan is just, you know, it's just a lot of little plans working towards a goal. You know, if making cereal is your big plan, you have to have the little plans of getting the milk in the cereal, opening them without making a mess, pouring them without making a mess, putting them away, lots of like little things. And I know that when I moved down here, I had the big plan in mind, and I had vague stepping stones of how I would get from A to B to C. Like I came down and I was like, oh, I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this, ta-da. But the problem was the distance from A to B was so big that like I needed a bridge to get across, and I didn't plan that, which put me in this sort of situation. I think I can kind of look back and appreciate where I am and what I've done, because I was sleeping in my car. The only internet I had was when I went to Starbucks with the laptop. So it's much better than the situation I'm in now is much better than the situation I was in, but I do need to look forward to where I want to go. A good example of the situation I'm in right now is if you guys have ever watched a basic coding tutorial, all basic coding tutorials are the same. What's that flickering? Is that the light? Because it's not flickering in my room. That's so strange. all basic coding tutorials start the same, and they all do the same thing. They teach you like a for loop, they teach you if then else, they teach you variables. No matter what language you're learning, you know, they teach you the print command so you can do hello world. It's the same stuff every time. And then at the end of the lessons, they're like, okay, well, you finished all the basic lessons. Now you go to the intermediate tutorials. So you scroll through their, you scroll through their channel, you find their intermediate lessons. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, they're just teaching all this shit that you have no idea about, you know? All the intermediate tutorials assume that you know all this extra stuff. There's like this huge gap of knowledge. And all coding tutorials do this, you know? I mean, not just coding does this, but I feel it's like really pronounced in coding more than anything else. But like everything is guilty of this. They teach you how to get from nowhere, from literal beginner, like you have no idea, and then they teach you how to get to A, and then they were like, okay, you've done the beginning stuff. Now do our intermediate. So you go and watch the intermediate, and intermediate starting at B, but there's like all this stuff in the middle that they've missed. You're here and they start here, and there's like nothing in between. It blows my mind. Everything does that. Acting's kind of like that too, you know? It's like once you've hit a certain big size, you know, you've hit B, there's like a clear path of what you need to do to keep going forward from here. And when you're starting out, it's really clear too. Like you take classes and blah, blah, blah. Like that's really clear. But between the two, there's nothing, you know? It's this sort of like fuzzy mess that 60% of LA actors seem to be stuck in. Honestly, you know, I need a game plan, like I mentioned before, but it needs to be like lots of little plans, and I just sort of need to plot out the course from A to B. And on the plus side, I'm not starting from scratch either. You know, like when I came down here, I was starting from scratch. You know, I had a little bit of money, but I was sleeping in my car, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not this time. I do have a place. I have a job, you know, and I don't think I'll lose it. Unlike Pacific, they don't seem like they've got sticks up their asses, you know, so I'm not starting from scratch, which is nice. But also I think this time I'm not gonna try to do so much, make these sort of like large jumps that I was trying to make, because that's really what screwed me over. So if anyone is watching this who's trying to be an actor, especially in LA, make yourself a roadmap with as much detail as you could possibly muster, and make like backup routes in your roadmap, just in case your roadmap like leads you into a constructing site. I know when I first came down here, I thought, oh, well, I'd just be making money from these acting jobs I found on Craigslist. And they seemed really legitimate too. They weren't saying, oh, you're gonna be in a big production or anything. They were saying things like, oh, you can be an extra, you'll make like $12 an hour, which is like such a weird thing to lie about. Like normally, you know, scams are like, oh, you can make $10,000 a week. Like, okay, sure I can. That makes total sense. But then these scams were like very modest. They were like, oh, you can probably make like $12 an hour. And so they seemed very legitimate, and that's what I thought I was gonna do. And there were a couple that were legitimate, but like 95% of them were not legitimate. And I didn't have a backup plan. So when that didn't work out, I just didn't have any idea what I was gonna do from there. Anyways, I think this episode has gone on long enough, and honestly, I could talk about this for hours because it's so crazy, but you know, the video does have to end at some point. So I'd like to thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe if you'd like to, and I will see you later, YouTube.